In 1948, a dead man was found laid up against a seawall of an Australian beach. He had no ID, no wallet, and the tags were cut out of all of his clothes. The only thing that was found on him was a scrap of paper from a piece of Persian poetry with the words Tamam Shud written on them, meaning it is finished. If this sounds like the beginning of a spy thriller, you would be maybe correct. Except this isn't fiction, this is the real life story of the Somerton Man. Today we're talking about one of the most frustrating mysteries of the 20th century, which is the mystery of the Somerton Man. Who is he? Why did he die? And was he murdered? What's with this random book of poetry? Some of those questions have been answered and others haven't. We're gonna break it down because this case has a little bit of everything, from secret codes, Cold War spies, and everything in between. It's December 1st, 1948, on Somerton Beach, South Australia. A man's body is found lying against the seawall looking strangely peaceful, like he just kind of laid back and died. In fact, when people first spotted him, they weren't sure if he was dead or if he was just passed out drunk. The man was roughly about 40 to 50 years old, in good health, and he was well dressed in a suit and polished shoes. No wallet, no ID, every single label on his clothing had been cut out. That's not just like normal weird, that's like, hi, I'm a spy. Nice to meet you, weird. A few days later, as the investigators were conducting the autopsy and giving him a closer look, they found a secret pocket in his pants. Inside that pocket was a teeny tiny rolled up piece of paper with the words Tamam Shud written on them. The phrase comes from a Persian poetry collection, whose name I'm definitely going to butcher right about now. The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam.
Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam.
And in Persian, the words inscripted on the paper mean it is finished. So there's one of two options here. Either this was the world's most emo and die-hard poetry fan, or we're dealing with some cloak and dagger shit. Because here's where the situation gets even crazier. Later, the investigators found the exact book that the page was torn out of. It was tossed in the back seat of the car parked near the beach. There were three peculiar things about this book. The first peculiar thing is clearly that the page that was ripped out that had "it is finished" in Persian written on it was obviously taken from this book. The second thing was there was a mysterious code written on the back that has yet to be deciphered. And the third thing is that the book contained a phone number. That phone number belonged to a nurse named Jessica Thompson, a woman who lived near Somerton Beach. When police asked her about it, she acted extremely strange. When Thompson was interviewed by the police, she was shown the plaster bust of the man that was found. Thompson said that she could not identify the person depicted. Later, though, investigators said that she reacted extremely violently to the bust, almost fainting and fidgeting. Investigators suspect that she knew who the person was, but was just refusing to cooperate. Thompson also revealed during this interview that while she was working at Royal North Shore Hospital in Sydney during World War II, she had owned a copy of the Rubaiyat. For decades, nobody knew who the Somerton Man was, but in 2021, DNA analysis identified the man as Carl Webb. He was an electrical engineer from Melbourne, so yay, mystery solved, right? Not exactly. Nobody knows really how he died, why the tags were cut out of his clothes, and how it relates to the book, the phone number, the secret messages, the code. There are a few theories as to what happened to Carl Webb, the first being the spy theory. This was the peak of Cold War, and a lot of Americans don't realize this, but Australia was actually a peak spot for espionage. The coded writing in the book, the missing clothing tags, the weird poisoning-like symptoms, it all points to a spy game gone wrong. Could this man have been a spy himself? Or maybe the target of a spy who was trying to leave some kind of warning? The second theory is the romantic tragedy theory. Many people suspect that he was in love with Jessica Thompson, or maybe that Jessica Thompson was an ex-lover of Mr. Webb's. Some people speculate that he might have got rejected and then killed himself with poison, but it doesn't explain the secret codes, the secret pocket in his clothes, or cutting out the tags of his shirt and pants. The third theory is very sadly suicide. A lot of people will argue that Carl Webb was going through a lot at the time and may have just been suicidal. In 1947, Webb separated from his wife, Dorothy Robertson. The couple had a history of verbal and physical abuse, according to eyewitnesses. After the separation, Dorothy moved to South Australia. Researchers speculate that Webb may have traveled to Somerton to find her. In Dorothy's divorce statement, there is evidence that he did have suicidal ideation or tendencies. Dorothy filed for divorce on the grounds of desertion. The court statement revealed that Webb's erratic behavior, obsession with death, and prior suicide attempts were all involved with the event. The most frustrating part of this whole scenario to me is the aspect of Jessica Thompson and why she wasn't considered as a suspect. During the entire investigation, none of the police actually treated her like she could have been a suspect in the crime, which I think would have maybe advanced the case even if she wasn't the sole perpetrator of this incident. Yes, her number was found in the book of poetry, and yes, when they showed her Carl's death mask, she reportedly fainted and acted very strange. And while that's suspicious as hell, there's no hard evidence that connects her to the crime. There were no fingerprints of hers on the book, no handwriting, no witnesses putting them together, so the police couldn't really charge her as a suspect. Even though Jessica's reaction to Carl's death mask kind of insinuates that she did know him, she denied knowing him and therefore the police couldn't prove it, even if they strongly suspected it. But there's a second subplot deeper theory to the Jessica Thompson scenario. If this was related to some kind of espionage situation, spy, poisoning, and Jessica was connected to Soviet intelligence, pressing too hard might have caused international mess. Some researchers think that the authorities did suspect espionage, but were quietly told to back off in order to not escalate the situation for other civilians. The cause of Carl Webb's death is still up in the air. Many investigators think because of the pristine condition of his body, it could have been something like poison, but the motive is still a giant question mark. Let me know what you think in the comments. Me personally, I'm honestly torn between some kind of romance scandal and some kind of mob activity. I don't know if we can 100% put our thumb on the Russian spy theory, but I do think it was really weird that the tags were cut out of his clothes. It's almost as if whoever killed him or told him to kill himself didn't want him to be identified or tracked back to where he got the clothes. I also think that trying to figure out where the clothes were from would have been a huge factor in determining what happened to him. Let me know what you think about this mystery. My name is Melody. This channel's called Melody Ever After. If you like unsolved mysteries, horror, video games, things that are freaky, geeky, spooky, please subscribe to my channel. You never know, you might like it. Try it out. See what I'm all about. My name is Melody. This channel's called Melody Ever After. I hope you enjoyed this video. In the meantime, I'll catch you in the next one. Until next time.